Hello again, everyone. Here we are again with another unboxing. Today we're going to be looking at the Otter Valley Railroad National Steel car, 6,400 cubic foot. They're calling it a scrap and trash gondola. These are larger than usual gondolas used for carrying scrap materials and in my neck of the woods here in Brooklyn, carrying remnants of construction demolition debris out to landfills in Virginia and Ohio and other places west of New York City. They predominate in this area, and it's good to see a model of this car. These cars are 64 foot long. Again, it's a high capacity gondola. You know, it's used in waste disposal, as I said. So let's take a look at what these cars look like. All right. Typical clamshell box. Make sure we get the tabs right. Pop these open. All right, there's one side. Here's the other side. We'll open up the poly wrapping. That's a good sign. Always a good sign when you open up these types of shipments. No parts in the bottom of the car or the crate or in the packaging. I do notice the little parts there. I thought they were loose, but they're actually spares. These cars come with rotating bearing caps, so there's a couple of spares if you should lose them. So here's the car. First thing I noticed, it's got a pretty good weight to it. Second thing I noticed are indeed the rotating bearing caps. These have the blue caps. And then I'm very impressed by the underside, all the piping for all the brake rigging, the air reservoir, the, as we model railroads call it, the triple valve, the brake cylinder. There's a little retainer. Very cool. There's, you can see here, there's the air hose. Very fine detail in the ladders and steps. This is the B end, the brake wheel end. That looks good. Here is the A end, and a little railing to hold on to in a cross platform so that the train crews can cross safely over between the cars. Noticing very fine detailing in the lettering. These cars are always very impressive just because it's like a gondola on steroids. These cars are painted with what's currently going on in the real world is the reporting marks are put up higher because unfortunately a lot of these cars operate in areas, in urban areas where graffiti is still prevalent. So they give it a fighting chance. So hopefully the graffiti artists stick to the lower part of the car so that the reporting marks don't get obscured. One thing I do notice straight away is it's not a KD coupler. It looks like it's a scale KD clone. Not a big fan of that, but that's my personal choice. Again, I operate in a club setting, so guys can be pretty hard on the cars, and nothing like having you know, a plastic knuckle or a KD clone break in the middle of the helix and you're trying to catch it before it reaches the bottom of the helix. But so far, that's the only thing that I see negative. All right, let's put it on the track, see what we got. Well, actually, before we do that, we'll do what I always do. I break out my NMRA gauge, and I check for gauge, engage, 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 engage. Very good. We'll put it on the track. Let's see, you guys want to see this in the camera. Don't want to see my own. Very good. Oh, help if I put it on the track right. There you go. Very free rolling. Let's try the height gauge. Engage to the height. Engage to the height. No trip pins, so I don't have to worry about the high-low on that. But my personal preference, like I said, are Katy couplers just for operational dependability. I will be swapping these out for scale head Katy cars with Katy couplers with pins. All right, so it's a 64-foot car, so that gives us a length of just a little over 9 inches, or just about 9 inches. So let's see, checking NMRA RP. What is that? RP 20.1, which is the recommended practices for weight. In HO, let's see, so 9 inches, 4¼ So this car should weigh about 5¼ ounces according to NMRA standard practice. Let's break out the scale. So we're looking at 5¼ ounces optimum. Okay, so this is 5 ounces. So that's not bad. It's plus minus, you know, the little tolerance in the NMRA standard practice. So, you know, 5¼ would be optimum. This is 5, so it's a ¼ ounce light. Be honest with you, I'm going to be building loads for these cars, because these cars, while they look good empty, they typically, you see them loaded. You know, unless we're modeling empties coming back, I don't see it being an issue. But again, being a gondola, you can very easily drop a little piece of steel weight in the bottom. Again, 1/4 to a 1/2 ounce. There's not much to add to these cars. There's plenty of room to do it. And again, very cool. Like this. It's very, very nice. All right. So as part of my order, I also ordered a couple of other cars. Again, cars I frequently see in my area. The CDEX cars, the OFOX cars, and as I mentioned, the first reviewed was the Wings car. Again, looking at all these cars, again, very impressed by the underbody detailing and all the fine brake rigging. These cars too, no loose parts in the bottom. All are engaged and all weigh 5 ounces, which again, I find perfectly acceptable. I'll be putting loads in here just to give you an idea of the loads. Typically what you see in my neck of the woods. Let's see if I can do this without knocking over the camera or the cars. As you can see, like I mentioned, graffiti artists like to tag these. This is an older car with the older style reporting marks, and actually this is a secondhand car, but you get to see there's the C&D debris or the load inside, and they coat it in a fine mesh so the stuff doesn't blow around. But that's typically how you see them in my neck of the woods. It's a big business here in New York City and the Long Island area. Our landfills filled up a long time ago. So this is what we get. So again, the CDEX is postal distribution. The OFOX is Residco, that's the OFOX, and the Winks is relatively new reporting marks in this area, so that gives you the idea of these cars. These cars started showing up within the past decade, maybe a little longer than that, older than that, but again, a very common modern car. CSX runs these almost in unit train service out of the metropolitan area to points west, predominantly Ohio, for where they unload the items into landfills out there. You'll also see these cars coming in from Boston and other parts of Massachusetts loaded with scrap across the river in New Jersey. There are some cars, the Cardella cars, which are very bright green with big Cardella inside. They'll be loaded with C&D as well as scrap over in northern New Jersey. So again, very impressed with these cars, very nice. The only downside, like I said, was the KD coupler, but I'll get over it. I am a model railroader. I'll just replace those couplers. But looking forward to running these on the layout. And it's a welcome addition to a much needed car. So that's all for now, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Okay.